Hi everybody, I'm back again, recording 2 videos back to back. I probably won't have them up so soon, one after the other, but I moved where I was sitting because the light was directly above me and it was like doing weird shadow things to my face. So the lighting isn't that great right here, but there wasn't really anywhere else I could go. Anywho, I'm here now to do an actual book review with no preparation or notes or outlines or anything done beforehand. And the review is on a book that I just finished reading a couple days ago. It's The Selection by Kiera Cass. If you know anything about me, you will know that I'm not a fan of love triangles. So, what was I doing reading this book? Which main plot point is a love triangle? I don't know. We'll come back to that. Anyway, The Selection is basically The Bachelor meets The Hunger Games. It's about a dystopian future where this girl on the cover, America's Singer, is selected to be in The Selection, which is a competition to win the heart of the Prince of Illéa, which is what North America becomes in the future. And so the girls, 35 girls, compete in this bachelor-like process, and then he picks one, and she will be the princess and the future queen. In this world of Illéa, it's now, it's not America anymore. It's a monarchy, and the people are divided into, I think, 8 or 9 different castes. I don't really remember where, the royal family on top are the ones, and then it just basically goes down from there. America and her family are 5s, which are artists. So they are, on the lower end, in the middle-ish, but lower. And they're not very well to do, so obviously her mom wants her to join the selection even though she doesn't want to, because she has a secret boyfriend named Aspen who's their neighbor but who's a caste below them and is a 6, and he comes from a really poor family. And I guess he didn't want America to, when women marry into caste, they become the new caste, they take their husband's cast, so I guess he didn't want her to do that or something, so she joined The Selection. And then, surprisingly enough, she starts to actually really get along with Prince Maxon, and she thinks like she's starting to develop feelings for him, and then a love triangle begins. Shock, horror. So, anyway, what was I doing reading this book? Obviously, it doesn't sound like anything that would be my cup of tea. I really don't know. I do know that I love dystopians, and at one point I was just trying to, read all the different dystopians out there. So that was probably when I got this, 2012. So I think I was in that phase back then, which I've kind of outgrown the whole dystopian craze now, and I've really been also starting to outgrow YA in general, but this book is one of, sadly, the not very few books, if that makes sense, on my shelf that have been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and I just haven't read them. Because honestly, I really had no great desire to make this book a priority. I don't remember when I bought it, but I'm going to go with my explanation. And I did have a thing, and I still do have a slight weakness for the girls in pretty dresses covers. They're just pretty to look at. I think most of the books themselves are duds from what I've seen, but they're pretty, so. Obviously, as you can probably tell by my previous reviews and my not so excited tone right now, is that this book, and I didn't hit it off so well. I think it took me like a week or so to read it. I might be exaggerating, I don't remember. I intended to finish it in January, which is when I started, but I didn't until this weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday. I don't even remember. Sunday? Saturday? I don't know, but it was at the beginning of February. And it took much longer to read than it should have, because it's not a long book, and it's not a very difficult book. It just wasn't very interesting. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my thing. It's all about a love triangle. The dystopian is really just in the background. The world building is very weak. They really don't mention much in the beginning. They kind of start to go into explaining the background of the world near the end, and I'm like, oh, could be interesting, but there wasn't very much on it. Maybe there will be in the future books, but I highly doubt I'm going to be reading them, so I guess that doesn't matter anyway. The two guys, Aspen was a dud, Maxon was a dud, America was a dud. Anyway, like, I don't care who she ends up with. I don't care about either of them. I don't care about love triangles. The selection itself was boring as, you know what, I was going to say a bad word, but I'm not going to. I'm not trying to insult the author, and I'm not trying to insult people who love this book, because I know there are quite a few fans of this book out there who this is just their thing. It's just not my thing. I know there was kind of a big controversy on Goodreads about a negative review, so I doubt that's going to happen to me, because my reviews aren't nearly as popular. But it's still it's always disheartening to hear about that kind of stuff, especially for someone like me. I'm very honest in my reviews, and I like listening to and reading negative reviews, because I like honest reviews. And I like to complain. And I'm very honest, because, I mean, what's really the point of lying? Like, what is the point of reviewing something if you're just gonna lie? Then that's not really a review. It's just a piece of crap. So anyway, I think all in all, what I was expecting more of what I really would have liked. This book had been done more as a satire. Like, if it had been a joke, like a comedy book about the selection, I think that would have been really interesting. But it was serious. And in fact, it wasn't even really about the selection. It was just about America and her dilemma of choosing between the two guys. So, what was the point of having this elaborate back? I guess to make it different from all of the other love triangles out there. But you really can't make it different from all the love triangles out there, because at their core, they're all the same. They're all love triangles. And this is a big part of why I've really started to move away from YA, is I just can't stand these triangles. They're just getting so overdone and tiresome, and I don't like them in the first place, but especially not when I read them in, like, every single YA book out there. Another thing that really bothered me about this book was, like I mentioned, the world building was very weak. The caste system didn't really make much sense to me. Like, the idea of having a caste system, yeah, that seems pretty believable, but, like, America's cast, fives, are artists, so, like, her dad and her brother they're artists in, like, the visual form, like, they sculpt and paint and craft, and then her and her mom, and I think her others, they do music and singing, and that's just not very believable to me to have this as a cast, because, that is a talent that you're born with, and a lot of people, no matter how much practice they do, have no artistic talent. Like, I have no artistic talent, so what am I supposed to do if I'm bored into this cast? I would die of starvation, I guess, because I'd never be able to work to support myself. This is just not realistic that this cast would work out. That's just not how artistic ability and creativity works. The selection, like your cast, 2 out of 5, just not my thing. Sorry if you like it. And I will see you guys next time.